You say you want change. You say this year will be different. But if I watched you live your mornings for just 1 week, I could already tell you how your 2025 will end. Because it's not your dreams that decide your future. It's the invisible choices you repeat when no one is watching. And right now, those choices are either building the person you want to become, or they're slowly killing that version of you. Covey here. And I've learned something that most people don't want to face. You are not waiting for the right time. You are avoiding the hard truth that the life you say you want demands a version of you that you haven't had the courage to become yet. This is why mornings matter. Not because of the hour on the clock, but because every single sunrise is a mirror. It reflects exactly who you are when comfort and discipline go to war. And I'll tell you the truth most people won't say out loud. Right now, you're not losing to laziness. You're losing to the comfort you've built around your excuses. You've mastered the art of postponing the very actions that would make you proud of yourself. I've worked with leaders, entrepreneurs, and people just like you, and I've seen the same pattern over and over. They think they're struggling with time management. They think they're struggling with motivation, but they're actually struggling with self-honesty. Because once you face the truth about how you've been living, there's no going back. You either change, or you live every day knowing you chose not to. And here's the part that stings, but could save you. You don't fail because you can't do it. You fail because you choose not to take the next step. Not next week, not next month, the very next step. And you make that choice every morning. The world is full of people who had great plans for next Monday. But Monday came, and nothing changed. This is why 2025 will either be your year of transformation or just another year you talk about it. It will be decided in the moments you think don't matter. The moments you think are too small to count. So if you think you can simply want it more this year, let me save you some time. You can't. Wanting doesn't win. Discipline wins. Clarity wins. The courage to stand up and do what you said you'd do, no matter how you feel, wins. And I'm not telling you this to discourage you. I'm telling you because once you understand this, you hold the power to change everything. In this talk, I'm going to give you the exact framework to break the mental loops that keep you stuck in hesitation. Build the kind of mornings that shape a completely different year. Turn discipline from a forced effort into a natural part of your identity. And lock in habits that survive even when motivation disappears. But before we do that, I want you to know something. This will not be comfortable. And that's the point. Because comfort is the silent killer of potential. It looks harmless. It feels safe. But it's stealing your future one soft, easy choice at a time. The reason I'm starting here, with the truth, is because if you keep lying to yourself about how you spend your mornings, everything else I teach you today will just become another good idea you don't follow through on. And I'm not here for that. I'm here to make sure that by the end of this talk, you will never again see your mornings as something you can waste. You will see them as the battlefield where the rest of your day and your life is decided. So here's my promise. By the time we finish, you will know exactly how to get up, get it done, and keep going. Every single day, no matter how you feel, no matter what's happening around you. You will understand how to silence the negotiation in your head before it starts. And you'll have the tools to make this the year you finally stop breaking promises to yourself. And here's the loop I want you to hold on to until the very end. There is one decision, one, that will guarantee you never start another day on autopilot again. I'll give it to you before we finish. But when I do, you'll know it's not just a tip. It's the line between who you've been and who you're about to become. So if you're ready to stop waiting, stop negotiating, and stop living the same year over and over, get up and let's get it done. Most people will tell you they don't act because they're tired, or because they're too busy, or because the timing isn't right. But I've been listening to these excuses for decades, from CEOs, entrepreneurs, students, parents, and I can tell you with complete certainty, none of those are the real reason. The real reason you're not moving forward is that you've built a life that lets you avoid the truth. You've mastered the art of keeping yourself distracted, comfortable, and busy enough so you never have to confront the gap between who you are and who you know you could be. And that gap is the source of your frustration. You don't hate the hard work. You hate looking in the mirror and seeing someone who keeps breaking their own promises. You hate feeling the weight of unused potential pressing down on you every single day. You hate the fact that deep down, you know you could be doing so much more, but you're not. I've seen it over and over. People believe they need more motivation. They believe that one day they'll wake up and feel ready. But readiness is a myth. No one is ready. Not at the beginning. Not when it matters most. I wasn't ready when I started my career. I wasn't ready when I faced my biggest personal challenges. But I learned something powerful. If you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. The real reason you're not taking action isn't lack of readiness. It's lack of self-honesty. Because once you tell yourself the truth about the life you've been living, you have only two choices: change, or live every day knowing you've chosen not to. And that's where most people freeze. They want change without the confrontation. They want transformation without the discomfort of admitting they've been hiding from themselves. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal and failed to follow through? Not because you didn't know what to do, but because you couldn't face the emotional cost of becoming the person who could do it? You told yourself you'd start working out. You told yourself you'd stop wasting mornings. You told yourself you'd write the book, start the business, learn the skill. But when it came time to start, you hesitated. And here's the truth. Hesitation is not harmless. Hesitation is a decision. It's a vote for staying exactly where you are. Every time you hesitate, you train your mind to believe that staying the same is safer than growing. That's why mornings are so powerful and so dangerous. They are the first decision point of your day. They set the tone for everything that follows. If you start in hesitation, you will live in hesitation. But if you start in action, you will carry momentum into everything you touch. This is why I say your mornings are the truest reflection of your life. Not the hours you post on social media, not the things you talk about at dinner, but the hours when no one is watching. The hours when it's just you, your thoughts, and the decision to stand up or stay down. I've built my life on one simple truth. The gap between intention and action is where dreams go to die. So if you want to get up and get it done in 2025, you need to do something most people will never do. You need to step into the discomfort of telling yourself the truth right now. Not tomorrow. Not after this video ends. Now, ask yourself, where have I been lying to myself about the life I'm living? What am I pretending not to know about my habits, my priorities, my discipline? If I keep living like this, will I be proud of who I've become by the end of this year? And when those answers come, because they will, do not run from them. Sit with them. Feel the sting of the truth, because that sting is the beginning of your transformation. This is where discipline is born, not from hype, not from empty motivation, but from the unshakable decision that you will no longer tolerate the version of yourself that hesitates, hides, or avoids. In my life, I've learned that success is less about what you achieve and more about who you become in the process. And becoming that person requires facing the parts of yourself you've been ignoring. It requires owning the fact that no one is coming to rescue you. It requires realizing that your mornings are not just a routine. They are a declaration of who you are and who you will be. So here's your first real step in 2025. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, notice the negotiation. Catch it. And instead of giving in, stand up immediately. Not because you feel like it, not because you're inspired, but because every time you choose action over avoidance, you're building the identity of someone who gets it done. That's the real reason you're not acting, and the real way you start. Not by waiting for readiness, not by chasing motivation, but by being honest enough to see the truth and disciplined enough to move anyway. And in the next step, I'll show you how to make that mental shift permanent, so you stop living in negotiation and start living in decisive action. Change begins the moment you stop negotiating with yourself. That moment when you realize you don't need to feel ready. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need another sign from the universe. You need to decide. Because decisions shape direction, and direction shapes destiny. I've seen people wait years for the right moment to take action. They were waiting for the schedule to clear, for the fear to fade, for the energy to appear. But life doesn't reward waiting. It rewards movement. When I look back on my own life, the moments that defined me were never the moments I felt ready. They were the moments I felt uncertain, exposed, even afraid, but I took the next step anyway. And with each step, the fear began to lose its grip. Courage didn't arrive before the action. Courage was built by the action. This is the shift most people never make. They keep believing they must wait until the fear disappears. They think they need confidence to act. But confidence is not the fuel. It is the result. Once you understand this, you stop letting fear decide the size of your life. You stop letting discomfort dictate your potential. You stop waiting for someone to hand you permission to live the life you've been imagining. The truth is, fear isn't your enemy. Fear is the signal that you're standing at the edge of growth. It's the alarm that tells you you're about to enter territory that will stretch you, challenge you, and shape you. If there's no fear, there's no growth. But fear comes with a choice. You can treat it as a stop sign or as a green light. The most successful people I've met, in business, in leadership, in life, have one thing in common. They've trained themselves to see fear as a signal to move forward, not step back. And this is where mental toughness comes in. Mental toughness isn't about pretending the fear isn't there. It's about looking it in the eye and saying, I hear you, but you don't get to decide for me. It's understanding that discomfort is the price of admission for a life worth living. If you want 2025 to be the year you finally break free from hesitation, you have to start asking yourself a different question. Not, am I ready? But, what would my future self thank me for doing right now? Every time you answer that question with action, you strengthen the muscle of resilience. You prove to yourself that you can move through fear instead of being paralyzed by it. You shift from waiting for courage to creating it. I've coached people through some of the most challenging moments of their lives, and I've watched this shift change everything. The moment they stop asking for conditions to be perfect and start choosing movement, their world opens. Opportunities appear. Energy returns. Momentum builds. You can make that shift today, and it starts small. The next time you feel resistance, whether it's to make a call, have a difficult conversation, or start your work, don't wait. Count down from 5 and take the first step. Don't give your mind the chance to talk you out of it. Because the longer you wait, the louder your doubts become. Once you've taken that step, the next one is easier. And the one after that is easier still. Before long, you've turned what was once a mountain into a path you walk without hesitation. This is why discipline is so powerful. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't check the weather. It doesn't ask for motivation. It simply acts. And the more you practice it, the more you trust yourself to act regardless of how you feel. That trust is priceless. It's the foundation of self-respect. It's the reason some people can look themselves in the mirror at the end of the day and know they showed up fully. And it's the reason others avoid the mirror altogether. I want you to be the person who can look in the mirror this December and say, I showed up. I didn't wait. I didn't hide. I didn't let fear keep me small. And that starts now. Because no one else can make this shift for you. I can tell you the truth. I can show you the steps. But you have to decide that fear will no longer have the final say in your life. When you make that decision, something powerful happens. Fear loses its authority. Discomfort becomes familiar. And action becomes your default state. So here's your challenge for this week. Choose one thing you've been avoiding. Not because it's impossible. Not because you don't know how. but because it scares you. And do it. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for the right time. Do it, and watch how the act of moving forward changes the way you see yourself. That's the mental shift 2025 demands. From hesitation to action, from fear to forward motion, from waiting for courage to building it one decision at a time. In the next step, we'll go deeper into breaking the patterns that keep pulling you back into the same cycles, so you can protect this new momentum and make it your new normal. You can change your goals 100 times. You can buy new planners, set new alarms, make fresh to-do lists. But if you don't break the patterns that are holding you where you are, nothing else will matter. Patterns are powerful because they're invisible. They run in the background of your life like silent programs. And the longer they run, the harder they are to notice. Until one day you realize months have passed, even years, and you're still fighting the same battles you thought you'd overcome. I've seen people try to fix their lives by adding more habits, more routines, more projects, but they never stop to remove the things quietly pulling them back. It's like trying to sail faster without noticing the anchor still dragging on the ocean floor. One of the most dangerous patterns is the cycle of preparation without action. You research, you plan, you think about starting, you talk about starting, but you don't actually start. And because it feels like you're doing something, you convince yourself you're making progress. You're not. You're just getting better at standing still. Another pattern is the comfort of multitasking. You keep yourself busy with 10 small things so you can avoid the one thing that really matters. You feel productive, but you're just scattering your energy into tasks that don't move you forward. And then there's the distraction loop. You start your morning with your phone in your hand. You check messages, scroll for a few minutes or a few hours. You tell yourself you'll get serious after this one break. But the truth is, your attention has already been stolen before you've done a single thing that matters. These patterns feel harmless in the moment, but they are lethal to momentum. They keep you trapped in the same mental space, repeating the same choices and expecting different results. When I work with people, I tell them the first step to breaking these cycles is awareness. You can't fight what you can't see. You have to catch yourself in the moment and say, "This is the pattern. This is the trap." The second step is to interrupt it immediately. Stand up. Put the phone in another room. Close the tab. Walk away from the distraction. Break the chain before it gets strong enough to pull you under. And the third step is to replace the pattern with intentional action. Don't just stop the distraction. Start something that matters right away. Because if you leave a gap, your mind will rush to fill it with whatever is easiest. For example, if your morning pattern is checking your phone, replace it with a single high-impact action. Write down your top 3 priorities for the day. Start on the most important one immediately. No negotiation. If your pattern is endless planning, set a timer for 15 minutes. When the timer ends, you must take a real step forward, even if it's small. Because small steps done now beat perfect steps never taken. And if your pattern is multitasking, force yourself into deep work. Pick one task. Commit to it for the next 60 minutes. No switching, no checking, just finish. Breaking these patterns is not just about productivity. It's about identity. Every time you interrupt an old cycle, you're telling yourself, "I'm no longer the person who stays stuck here." And every time you replace it with action, you're proving to yourself that change is possible now, not someday. This is how transformation really happens. Not in big dramatic gestures, but in the quiet, daily choices to stop living on autopilot. But here's the hard truth. Your old patterns will fight to survive. They are comfortable. They are familiar. And your mind will try to convince you that staying in them is safer than breaking free. You have to be ready for that resistance. You have to see it for what it is, a sign that you're moving toward growth. And instead of listening to it, you have to act in spite of it. There's a line I've repeated for years. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your patterns are your systems. If you want a different life, You need different systems. So here's your challenge. Pick one pattern you know has been keeping you stuck. Don't wait for the perfect moment to fix it. Interrupt it tomorrow morning. Replace it with one decisive action. And do it again the next day, and the next. Because the moment you stop feeding the old pattern, it begins to die. And in its place, a new pattern, a stronger one, begins to take root. That's how you stop living the same year over and over. That's how you step into a completely different 2025. In the next step, I'll show you how to build the kind of daily foundation that not only keeps you moving, but makes it almost impossible to fall back into your old ways. Breaking your old patterns is the first victory, but breaking something without replacing it leaves a void. And if you don't fill that space with intention, your old habits will come back stronger than before. That's why you need a new foundation, a structure that makes progress your default, not your occasional win. I've seen it countless times. People fight hard to escape their old ways, only to drift back because they didn't anchor themselves to something stronger. They relied on willpower alone. But willpower is fragile. It bends under stress. It breaks when you're tired. What holds you steady is structure. Your foundation starts the moment you wake up. Not with checking your phone, not with scrolling through other people's lives, but with something that declares to yourself, I'm in control today. That declaration can be simple. It can be as small as making your bed, drinking a glass of water, or writing down your top 3 priorities. It's not about the task itself. It's about proving to yourself that you set the tone, not the world around you. One of the most powerful things you can do is give your mornings a clear purpose. Decide in advance what your first hour will look like. Protect it like it's non-negotiable. Because it is. The first hour is when you tell your mind who's in charge. If you give it away to distraction or hesitation, you've surrendered the day before it even starts. When I was building my own habits, I learned the value of front-loading my energy. I tackled my most important work first, before the noise of the day could reach me. Even if I did nothing else that day, I knew I'd move the needle where it mattered most. That gave me momentum, and momentum is the lifeblood of discipline. Your new foundation should also include a clear shutdown ritual at night. End your day on purpose. Review what you accomplished. Decide what tomorrow's top priorities will be. Lay out what you need for the morning. When you close the day with clarity, you open the next one with power. Don't overcomplicate it. A strong foundation is built on a few simple actions done consistently. Too many people create elaborate routines they can't maintain, and when they inevitably fail, they think they're not disciplined enough. The truth is, their system was too heavy to carry. Start small and make it automatic. Wake up and move your body, even if it's just a short walk. Eat something that fuels you, not something that makes you crash. Work on your highest impact task before anything else. Do these things so often they become part of who you are. And remember, your foundation isn't just about productivity. It's about identity. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are the kind of person who gets things done. And once that belief is locked in, it becomes harder to break it than to keep going. Some mornings will be harder than others. There will be days when you don't feel like doing any of it. That's when your foundation matters most. Because discipline is built for those days. It's the safety net that catches you when motivation falls away. When you've built your foundation well, it does something remarkable. It makes success boring. Not because it's easy, but because it's normal. You wake up, you do the work, you move forward. No drama, no negotiation, just consistent progress, day after day. I've worked with people who went from feeling scattered and unmotivated to feeling unshakable, simply because they committed to a clear, simple structure every day. Their lives didn't change overnight, but they changed their mornings, and their mornings changed their lives. This is what I want for you in 2025. Not just a burst of effort in January. Not a few productive weeks before you slide back into old ways. I want you to have a foundation so solid that even on your worst days, you still move forward. Here's how you start. Choose 3 non-negotiables for your mornings. Protect them at all costs. Choose 1 non-negotiable for your evenings that sets you up for tomorrow. And commit to doing them every day, no matter how small the effort feels. Because the point isn't to be perfect. The point is to be consistent. A weak effort on a bad day still beats no effort at all. And every time you show up, even at half strength, you're strengthening the foundation you're building. In time, this foundation will carry you through challenges, through fatigue, through days when nothing goes as planned. It will give you stability in a chaotic world, and it will give you proof every single day that you can trust yourself to follow through. In the next step, I'll show you how to protect this foundation from the biggest threats, the distractions, the temptations, and the moments when the old patterns try to pull you back. Because once you've built something worth protecting, you have to make sure it lasts. Building discipline is powerful. Protecting it is essential. But the real magic happens when you take that solid foundation and use it to grow faster than you ever thought possible. This is where change stops being something you fight to hold on to and starts becoming the way you live. I've seen people spend years in a cycle of progress and relapse because they never moved beyond survival mode. They were always fighting just to stay on track, never reaching for the next level. And that's dangerous, because if you don't keep moving forward, comfort will find you again. And when comfort finds you, it will try to convince you that you've done enough. The way to beat this is to make growth a permanent priority, not a temporary push, not a project you work on for a few weeks, but a way of life. The first step in consolidating your transformation is to track it, not for perfection, not for judgment, but for awareness. Write down what you've done each day that supports the person you want to become. Small wins count. A short workout, waking up without hitting snooze, completing one meaningful task before the day got away from you. These moments add up, and seeing them written down builds proof that you're changing. The second step is to set stretch goals. These aren't just your regular targets. They're challenges that force you to grow beyond what feels comfortable. They demand new skills, stronger focus, deeper resilience. Without stretch goals, you risk falling into maintenance mode, where you're consistent, but no longer evolving. The third step is to regularly review and refine your systems. Your habits, your routines, your priorities, they all need adjustment as you grow. What worked for you 3 months ago might not be enough now. Growth means outgrowing your old strategies. You have to be willing to let them go and build new ones. One of the most effective ways I've found to accelerate growth is to take on controlled challenges. This could be a 30-day discipline challenge, waking up at the same time every day for a month, or committing to a focused project without distraction until it's complete. The key is that the challenge should stretch you without breaking you. It should push your limits while remaining achievable through consistent effort. And here's something most people overlook. Growth also requires recovery. You can't sprint forever. Even the strongest systems need moments to breathe. That doesn't mean you stop. It means you strategically rest so you can keep going stronger. Resting with purpose is different from drifting in laziness. It's an intentional pause to refuel, not an escape from doing the work. Acceleration also comes from surrounding yourself with the right influences. You rise to the level of the people you spend the most time with. If your circle normalizes comfort, you'll slide back into it. If your circle normalizes progress, you'll be pulled forward even on your weaker days. And there's one more element that turns steady progress into unstoppable momentum: teaching what you've learned. When you share your journey with others, whether it's with friends, family, or a community, you deepen your own commitment. You hold yourself to a higher standard because you know others are watching, and you inspire them to start their own transformation. Consolidating your progress is about locking in your identity as someone who does what they say they'll do. Accelerating it is about continually raising the standard for yourself, never letting good enough replace your pursuit of excellence. The truth is, transformation isn't a single breakthrough moment. It's a chain of deliberate decisions, day after day, choice after choice. And the more of those choices you stack in the right direction, the faster you move toward the life you've been trying to build. So don't just protect what you've built. Strengthen it, expand it, push it into new territory, and keep moving so far forward that going back is no longer an option. In the final step, I'm going to show you how to close this journey with conviction. How to make sure 2025 isn't just a year of progress, but the year you redefine yourself completely and never lose what you've gained. You've made it this far because a part of you knows the truth. You are not the same person you were when you started. Something in you has shifted. You've stopped seeing discipline as a punishment and started seeing it as freedom. You've stopped waiting for motivation and started moving because action is who you are now. And that's the real win. Not the morning you woke up early. Not the workout you didn't skip. Not the project you finally finished. The win is that you've built a version of yourself who doesn't negotiate with their own potential anymore. The win is that you now trust yourself to follow through. I've worked with countless people who began just like you, unsure if they could change, unsure if it would last. And I've watched them not only transform their habits, but transform their entire sense of self. They didn't become perfect. They became consistent. They became resilient. They became unstoppable. This is what I want you to carry forward from here. The understanding that this journey doesn't end. It's not something you finish and file away. It's who you are now. It's how you live. Because the moment you think you've arrived, the slide backward begins. Comfort will call you again. Old patterns will wait patiently, ready to welcome you back. And the only thing that will keep you from answering that call is the identity you've built, the one that chooses growth every time. So here's what I want you to remember. Every day is another chance to prove to yourself that you are who you say you are. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one else would blame you for stopping. That's where the real strength lives. And if you ever feel yourself slipping, don't panic. Don't spiral into guilt. Stand back up quickly. Reconnect with your foundation. Take one small action to get back on track. The faster you recover, the stronger you become. I've seen too many people give up because they thought a bad day erased all their progress. It doesn't. What erases progress is deciding to stop. As long as you keep moving forward, even in small steps, you're still in the fight. And here's the truth about a fight like this. You never really win it once. You win it every morning you wake up and choose the harder path. Every time you take the first step without waiting to feel ready. Every time you silence the negotiation in your head before it steals your momentum. If you keep doing that, 2025 won't just be a good year. It will be the year that redefines you. The year you look back on and say, that's when everything changed. That's when I became the person I was meant to be. So keep building. Keep showing up. Keep proving to yourself, one choice at a time, that you are not going back. You are not shrinking to fit into your old life. You are not letting fear or comfort decide the size of your future. You've done the work to get here. Now do the work to stay here. And then go further. Because there's more in you than you've even begun to imagine. This isn't the end of the journey. It's the foundation for everything that comes next. It's the standard you will carry into every area of your life. Your work, your relationships, your health, your purpose. And the stronger you make it, the more unshakable you will become. So when the alarm rings tomorrow and your mind starts whispering all the reasons to stay comfortable, remember who you are now. Remember what you've built. And remember that one small act of getting up and getting it done is how you win. Not just today, but every day that follows. Because this is your life now. And you're the one in control.